PhD is looking at developing and evaluating an app to reduce excessive alcohol consumption, using sort of theory and current empirical evidence, and based on our own studies as well. Coming up with one that's based on theory, as there's quite a lot out there at the moment, but none of them have been evaluated or developed based on any concrete evidence. It's a team of us, so there's myself and then Dave Crane, who's another PhD student, and then we've got 3 supervisors, Susan McGee, Robert West and Jamie Brown, and then there's 2 research groups as well, the UTARGS, the UCL Tobacco and Alcohol Research Group, and HPRG, which is the Health Psychology Research Group. So it's sort of large teams and then sort of smaller subsets of teams within that, and then even smaller when it's just the supervisory group. So there's normally sort of weekly or fortnightly seminars where we discuss people's papers that they've written, or are about sort of in the process of writing in outlines, or discuss journal articles that have come out recently that might be of interest. Yes, I've presented at 2 external conferences now, at the UK Society for Behaviour Medicine and the Society for the Study of Addiction, the studies that I've done this year. I normally arrive between about 8:30 and 9, depending on the luck of tubes / what time I get up, and then sort of, I'd say every other day there's a meeting or one of these research group seminars that I attend, so sort of normally a couple of things in the diary for each day. When I get in, normally check my emails, go over that, anything that needs to be done, and then I have a weekly daily to-do list, and so just start with that, with the things sort of highest priority, crack on with first, and then depending on what's going on, sort of sometimes pop out for lunch, or normally finish. Actually it varies hugely day to day, can be anywhere normally. I don't think I've ever left earlier than 4, and if there's a lot going on, then I think the latest I've ever left is probably about 8:30 or something. A mix of the 2, but predominantly academics. So in developing the app, obviously we are working with guys that know how to develop an app, and that's the first time I've ever done this sort of work. My background's purely academic, but they're really good, and they sort of managed to explain things in layperson terms for me, so I can keep a track of what's going on. But so we have a meeting with them every week, normally by phone, sometimes in person, but day to day, other than that, it's purely academics. Really good. It's funny. It took a while, I think, for both sides to get used to the different language. So they'd say things like copy, which I would assume meant a replication of something, but actually it means, if you're talking about a copy of an app, it's all the text that would be in the app. And so sort of things like that, or when we're referring to some kind of the design of a particular study, and you're sort of having to have an understanding of what the other people understand by what you say, and whether or not they will understand what it is you're talking about. But they're very good. Well, I think we're almost there, that everyone's going to have a smartphone, and I think it's going to get to the point where that everyone who does have a smartphone also has digital health sort of as part of that, because iOS 8 has now got that sort of health module, and so it's becoming much more of a sort of key focus, I think, for people, and I think everyone is very interested in themselves basically and their health, and so to have something with you, which is your phone, that I think mine's about a metre from me. I don't think anyone ever really leaves their phone, or if they do, they feel weirdly naked without it, and I think to have that ability to monitor, and the current uptake of people using apps like MyFitnessPal and things, that not for sort of specific illnesses or anything, but just general physical activity, fitness, diet. So I think there's going to be apps for everything, and people are going to be using them a lot, and it's not going to be a sort of some people, trying to get people involved in it, it will be a much wider thing and an incredibly useful research tool as well, potentially.
I'm going to ask you a slightly academic one.
Okay. Because without it you can't move forward. I think if you don't have theory, you don't know why these things are happening, and so you could create something, and if you don't understand the mechanism behind it, then the results are great, but you can't build on it. And so there's no way that the great thing about technology is it's like developing so fast, but research has got to keep up with it. And if everyone keeps doing it, and they're all just discrete individual blobs of research almost, you're never going to keep up with technology, and the technology is never going to aid people in the way that it could. And if you're using theory to underpin something, I think it means that it's transferable to other behaviours, to other technologies, and then from that you can build a much stronger field than you'd ever be able to without it.